Where were you last night? I asked, my voice shaking. Just out with some clients. You know, work stuff, he replied, not even looking up from his phone. I felt the familiar surge of anger. Clients? Or her? He froze for a second. What are you talking about? I know, Jason. I saw the messages. Don't pretend you're innocent. My hands trembled as I gripped the edge of the kitchen counter. He sighed, annoyed. You're imagining things. Seriously, you need to calm down. I laughed bitterly. Imagine? Really? Because I remember every late night, every excuse, every lie. And I've stayed quiet. Until now. Jason rolled his eyes. You're overreacting, as usual. No, I snapped. I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending that your lies don't hurt me. He finally looked at me, a mixture of frustration and disbelief on his face. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You always overthink everything. That's it. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. I'm leaving. I can't stay here, Jason. Not like this. Not with you. He laughed, low and sharp. Leave? You'll regret it. You'll be back begging before the week is over. I packed my essentials while he watched, still smug. You think I'm afraid of leaving you? I'm not. Not anymore. I need to breathe without your constant manipulation. Manipulation? I've done nothing but support you. He shouted. I shook my head, sliding my suitcase across the floor. Support? Is that what you call it? Ignoring me, belittling me, lying to me? No, that's control. And I'm done being controlled. The phone buzzed. It was Lisa, my closest friend. I answered quickly, relief flooding me. Are you okay? She asked. I will be, I whispered, closing my eyes. He's worse than I thought. You're doing the right thing. Just stay strong, Lisa encouraged. I opened my eyes, meeting Jason's angry glare. I am strong. Strong enough to walk away from you. Strong enough to rebuild my life on my terms. He tried to step closer, but I moved past him. I'll call my lawyer tomorrow. Consider this the end of us. Permanently. You're making a huge mistake, he growled, but I didn't look back. I walked out of that house, each step lighter than the last. For the first time in years, I felt a spark of freedom. The fear, the betrayal, the heartbreak, they were all there, but beneath them was a determination I hadn't felt in a long time. I would survive this. I would thrive. And no one, not even him, would take that from me. I paused at the door, suitcase in hand, listening to the quiet of the night. The house felt too large, too heavy with memories I no longer wanted. Are you sure about this? Lisa whispered from the passenger seat of her car, her hand lightly brushing mine. I have to be, I replied, my voice trembling but firm. I can't stay there one more second. Not with him thinking he still controls me. She nodded, eyes filled with understanding. Then let's get you out of here before he wakes up. You don't owe him anything. As we drove, I stared at the dark streets, replaying every lie, every broken promise. I felt grief, yes, but also relief. Guilt tried to creep in. I was leaving behind a life I had built, however fragile, but I knew it was time. Do you have your things? Lisa asked. All packed, I said, adjusting my grip on the bag. Clothes, documents, everything. I don't want anything holding me back. Good. You're ready for this, she encouraged. I tried to believe her, but doubts whispered in the back of my mind. Was I running too soon? Was I making a rash decision? No, I reminded myself. I had suffered enough. I had endured enough. Where to first? I asked, forcing my voice to sound casual, though my heart pounded. Your new apartment, she said. You'll finally have a space that's yours. No lies. No manipulation. Just you. I bit my lip, swallowing the lump in my throat. It feels surreal. Leaving everything behind, even the pain, feels like I'm stepping into a dream I've been too scared to have. Lisa smiled softly. It's more than a dream. It's your life now, and I'll be there every step of the way. Her words gave me strength, but the uncertainty lingered. I imagined him discovering my absence. Would he be shocked? Angry? Desperate? I couldn't allow myself to care too much anymore. The apartment. Movers helped carry my things in. I signed the papers, feeling the weight of independence settle on my shoulders. You okay? Lisa asked as we arranged the last box in the living room. Yes, I said firmly. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm in control, like I'm finally breathing. She nodded, squeezing my hand. You'll rebuild. You'll be stronger than ever. I let myself smile for the first time since I decided to leave. There was fear, yes, and grief, but also hope. And as I unpacked, each item taking its place in my new life, I realized something crucial. Leaving him wasn't just about escape. It was about survival, about reclaiming every part of me he had tried to crush. I sank into the couch, exhaustion hitting me, and whispered to myself, this is only the beginning. And this time, I'm choosing me. First day, huh? My coworker, Jenna, smiled as I walked into the office, my bag still slightly heavy on my shoulder. Yeah, I replied, forcing a calm tone. I'm excited, I guess. You'll do great. Don't stress, she said, leading me to my desk. I nodded, but inside, my mind raced. Excited? Yes, but also terrified. What if Jason found out about this job? What if he tried to interfere? Here's your computer and your login, Jenna said. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks, Jenna, I replied, keeping my voice steady. As I settled, I heard someone laugh nearby. I glanced up to see a tall man, charming smile, holding a stack of files. Our eyes met briefly, and a strange flutter hit my chest. New hire? He asked, his voice warm. Yes, I said cautiously. First day. I'm Michael, he said, extending a hand. If you need help navigating, just ask. I shook it, feeling the unexpected spark of comfort. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. The day moved slowly. I focused on tasks, trying to keep my thoughts from wandering back to the house, to the arguments, to Jason. Every notification on my phone made me jump slightly. Every unfamiliar ring made my heart race. Everything okay? Jenna asked, noticing my distracted state. I'm fine, I assured her. Just adjusting. Lunch arrived, and I sat alone at first, watching colleagues chat. I wanted connection, but trust didn't come easy anymore. Then Michael appeared, tray in hand. Mind if I join you? He asked. Not at all, I said, grateful for the company. We talked lightly work, favorite shows, weekend plans, small moments, but they felt significant. I realized how starved I'd been for normal conversation, for safety in another person's presence. Yet, under the surface, fear lingered. I imagined Jason barging in, demanding explanations, laughing at my independence. My hands clenched under the table, reminding me that the past was never far away. Hey, Michael said gently, noticing my tension. You're doing great. Don't let anyone shake that. I smiled, a little hesitant, but it felt real. Thanks. I needed that. The afternoon passed with a mixture of focus and small talk. By the time I left the office, exhaustion pressed against me, but so did a sense of achievement. I'd survived another day. I was building a life I chose, even if fear lingered in shadows. Walking home, I took a deep breath, inhaling the crisp evening air. Freedom felt fragile, but it felt mine. And as I glimpsed a familiar smile from Michael, waving goodbye, I allowed myself a flicker of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, the future held more than survival. It held the possibility of happiness too. My phone rang while I was unpacking a box. The screen flashed his name. I froze. Jason, I whispered under my breath, heart thudding. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity and unresolved anger won. I swiped to answer. Hello, I said, keeping my voice steady. Finally, he said, his tone smug. I thought you'd run off without a goodbye. I left because you made it impossible to stay, I replied coolly. I don't owe you explanations. He chuckled, a low, arrogant sound. Impossible? Really? You're overreacting, as usual. I don't understand why you had to make this drama. Drama? I echoed, shaking my head. Do you even hear yourself? Lies, betrayal, manipulation. And now you call leaving drama? He sighed, mock frustration dripping from every word. You always dramatize everything. Can't you just admit you'll regret this? I won't, I said firmly. I'm reclaiming my life, Jason. That's not regret. It's survival. There was a pause, a faint tremor under his composed voice. You're serious? Absolutely, I replied. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. You're stronger than I thought, he admitted, his arrogance cracking slightly. I assumed you'd be back within days. Assumptions don't control me anymore, I said, feeling the power of my own words. I make my own decisions now. I see you've changed, he muttered, almost reluctantly. I have, I confirmed. And you need to understand that whatever you think you lost, I'm done being the person you manipulate. There was silence, then his voice softened, tinged with something I hadn't expected: desperation. Can we talk? Just hear me out. I clenched my jaw, aware of the mix of emotions swirling inside me. Part of me wanted to hang up and never look back. Part of me wanted to hear the apology I'd waited years for. I don't need your explanations, I said finally. You had your chance, Jason. You blew it. I'm moving forward, with or without your approval. But he started, then stopped. I could hear the frustration building. Save it, I interrupted. I'm not here for your guilt trip. I'm here to live my life. Another pause. I could hear him exhaling, realizing his control slipping. Fine, he said quietly. But you'll remember this. You'll regret leaving me. I doubt it, I said firmly, hanging up before he could protest further. I leaned back, my hands trembling slightly. Relief and triumph mixed with lingering doubt. I knew this was only the beginning, but for the first time, I felt my power shifting. And I wasn't going to let him take it back. Good morning, Alex, my boss, Mr. Thornton, greeted as I walked into the office. Morning, sir, I replied, straightening my posture. I reviewed your report from last week. Impressive work, he said, scanning his tablet. You've really stepped up. Thank you, I said, trying to keep my excitement under control. I'm just doing my best. Well, your best is noticeable, he smiled. Keep it up. I think a bigger project is coming your way. I nodded, heart racing. I'll handle it. Jenna popped by my desk, grinning. See, I told you they'd notice. You're unstoppable. I laughed lightly. It feels good to be seen for once. Careful, she warned. Don't let anyone steal your moment. I rolled my eyes, smiling. Trust me, I'm not the type to let anyone dim my light anymore. Throughout the day, I tackled assignments with a focus I hadn't felt in years. Each completed task, each positive note from colleagues, added a layer of confidence I thought had been buried forever. Alex, can you handle the client presentation tomorrow? A coworker asked. Absolutely, I replied, feeling the weight of responsibility with excitement rather than fear. During a short break, I glanced at the empty chair across from my desk, the one I used before leaving Jason's house. Memories of his control and constant monitoring surfaced, but instead of sadness, I felt triumph. I had built my space, my independence, my career, and no one could take it away. Hey Alex, lunch? Jenna asked. Sure, I said, grabbing my bag. A tea the caf. We chatted about work, colleagues, and minor office drama. I noticed subtle changes in the office hierarchy. Michael seemed more attentive now, and others treated me with a growing respect I hadn't anticipated. This is your moment, Jenna whispered, nudging my shoulder. You're finally shining. I know, I said, smiling. It feels right, like I'm finally in control. Back at the office, my phone buzzed. It was an alert about Jason. A minor setback in his business popped up on the newsfeed. His investment had failed. My stomach tightened with a mix of satisfaction and disbelief. Karma, I thought quietly, taking its slow, satisfying course. Alex, the client loved your presentation, Mr. Thornton said later in the afternoon. They're asking for a follow-up project. Consider it yours. Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint, I replied, pride swelling inside me. As I settled back at my desk, I allowed myself a moment to breathe. The triumph wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, but powerful proof that I had reclaimed the parts of my life I tried to control. Michael appeared, holding a folder. Great work today. You handled everything smoothly. Thanks, I said, surprised at the genuine encouragement. I appreciate it. Keep this up, and you'll be leading your own team soon, he added with a knowing smile. I smiled back, the seed of ambition growing. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Each small victory, each recognition, each quiet moment of control reminded me that leaving him wasn't just the right decision. It was the beginning of everything I deserved, and as I sat in the quiet of my office, the sunlight hitting the corner of my desk, I whispered to myself, this is mine, all mine. I didn't expect to see him. Not here, at the company gala, among sparkling lights and polite chatter. Alex? Jason's voice cut through the crowd, smooth and familiar. I turned slowly, heart racing, and met his eyes. Jason, I said, voice calm, carefully measured. He smiled, just a little too wide, scanning me from head to toe. You look different, stronger, more confident. I've been doing a lot of work on myself, I said, keeping my tone even. It seems to be paying off. He stepped closer, casually brushing his hand near mine, a touch meant to assert dominance. I knew. I didn't expect you to attend. Surprising. I attend because it's my event too, I replied. I work here now. I have my own life. Jason's brow furrowed, a flash of something unreadable crossing his features. I didn't realize you could thrive without me. I can, I said softly, letting the words sink in. And I'm thriving. A friend approached, breaking the tension. Alex, glad you could make it. Thanks, I said, giving a polite smile, grateful for the interruption. It's good to see everyone. Jason leaned slightly, voice low. You really have changed. I barely recognize you. I've changed, I confirmed. For myself, not for anyone else. He laughed lightly, a nervous edge beneath it. You always were ambitious, but I didn't think you'd actually succeed without me steering things. I'm steering myself now, I said firmly, my chest lifting with a newfound confidence. I don't need anyone to control my path. He opened his mouth to reply, but I caught the hesitation. The arrogance I knew was slipping, replaced with something like worry. He glanced around, perhaps realizing that people here now saw me as capable and independent and shakeable. He started, then paused, swallowing. I stepped slightly away, sipping my drink, letting him feel the distance I had claimed. Jason, I don't regret leaving. I don't regret standing on my own. And you can't change that. He frowned, the charm he always used failing him. You're different than I imagined. I am, I said, finally allowing a small, confident smile. And I'm proud of it. The crowd moved around us, laughter and music filling the space. I realized something important. I didn't need to confront him with anger. I didn't need to prove anything. My presence, my poise, my success, that was enough. Enjoy the party? I asked lightly, walking toward the group of colleagues laughing nearby. Jason's eyes followed me, lingering, a mix of shock and something I recognized. Loss. I kept walking, shoulders straight, letting the soft music and friendly chatter surround me. For the first time, I felt fully untethered from his shadow. He had been stunned, yes, but more importantly, he had lost the power he once wielded over me, and I didn't need to say another word to prove it. Alex, I need to show you something, my financial advisor Mark said, closing the door behind him. What is it? I asked, curiosity mixed with a creeping sense of anticipation. He handed me a folder. These are records from Jason's latest business dealings. I thought you should know what's really happening. I flipped through the pages, each line making my stomach tighten. Loans unpaid, investments failing, hidden debts. The man who once pretended to have it all together was teetering on the edge of ruin. You're telling me he's been lying this whole time? I asked, voice sharp. Exactly, Mark confirmed. He's been projecting success, but behind the scenes he's struggling. And some of these moves, they're risky, even reckless. I leaned back, absorbing the information. Rage mixed with satisfaction. He deserves this. After everything, it's about time karma catches up. You're handling this well, Mark said, noting the controlled calm in my tone. Most people would be shocked or devastated. I'm angry, I admitted. But more than that, I feel ready. Ready to take advantage of the fact that he underestimated me. You mean? Mark started, then paused. Yes, I said, cutting him off. I can rebuild, take control, not just for myself, but to show him he doesn't get to dictate my life. Later, I met Lisa and Jenna for coffee. I laid out the details quietly, letting them digest the scope of Jason's deception. I knew he wasn't honest, Lisa said, frowning. But this is worse than we thought. Exactly, I replied. And now I see clearly. I don't need to prove anything to him. I just need to focus on me and let the consequences fall on him naturally. Jenna nodded, sipping her drink. You're stronger than I imagined. This could be the turning point, Alex. Not revenge for revenge's sake, but justice. Karma in motion. I want him to feel what it's like to lose control, I admitted. But I won't stoop to his level. I'll let the truth and his mistakes speak for themselves. Lisa reached across the table, squeezing my hand. You've got this. You're smart. And now you have all the pieces. Plan your next steps carefully. Your success will speak louder than any confrontation. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of strategy forming in my mind. Each conversation, each revelation strengthened my resolve. I had been patient, silent, underestimated, and now I held the advantage. Let him think he's still ahead, I whispered to myself later that night. He won't realize until it's too late. Mark's warning echoed in my mind. Be strategic. Don't let emotion cloud your judgment. I nodded to the empty room. I was angry, Yes, but I was focused. And focus would win where anger alone never could. For the first time since leaving, I felt fully in control. The betrayal had been revealed, the stakes were clear, and I knew my path forward. And while he struggled to maintain his facade, I was quietly, steadily, preparing to reclaim everything he thought he still owned. Alex, the board reviewed your proposal, Mr. Thornton said as I entered his office. They've approved you for the leadership position. You'll be heading the new division. I blinked, letting the news sink in. I am really honored. Thank you. You've earned it, he said, smiling. Your work has been exceptional. I can't think of anyone better. Jenna appeared at the door, beaming. You did it. I told you your time is now. I smiled, feeling a rush of satisfaction. It's surreal, but it feels right, right? A voice said behind me. I turned slowly. Jason stood there, a cocktail in hand, his expression caught somewhere between surprise and disbelief. Jason, I said calmly, keeping my tone steady. What a surprise. You got the position? His voice wavered, more than I expected. Yes, I said, holding his gaze. It seems the board trusts me to lead. Something I imagine they never considered about you. He laughed, sharp and awkward. I mean, how did this happen? I proved myself, I said firmly. Through hard work, dedication, and independence. Unlike you, I didn't rely on appearances or manipulation to get ahead. Jason's smile faltered. I see. I leaned back slightly, savoring the moment but keeping my composure. It's a significant responsibility, but I'm ready for it. I have a great team behind me. A colleague from the new division approached. Alex, congratulations. We're thrilled to have you leading us. Thank you, I said, shaking hands and feeling the weight of their respect. Jason shifted, glancing at the room. His eyes flicked over colleagues who now looked at me with admiration, not him. He had once been in control, but now the dynamic had shifted completely. You're serious about this, he said finally, voice low, almost incredulous. I am, I confirmed. And I intend to excel. I want this division to succeed, and I want to succeed with it. That's my focus. But what about everything else? He asked, desperation creeping in. I don't dwell on what doesn't serve me, I replied calmly. I'm focused on my path, not the shadows of the past. The silence stretched, filled with the unspoken reality. He had lost the leverage he thought he had over me. I could see the realization in his eyes he could no longer intimidate, manipulate, or control. You're impressive, he admitted quietly. Thank you, I said with a small smile. Though inside I felt the subtle thrill of vindication. I wasn't seeking revenge in the overt sense, but I couldn't deny the satisfaction of seeing the power dynamic reversed. A rival from another department walked past, nodding respectfully. Congrats, Alex. Well deserved. Thanks, I replied, warmth in my chest. Recognition from peers reinforced my sense of achievement. As I looked around the office, at colleagues ready to follow my lead, I realized something important. This was more than just professional success. It was proof of independence, proof that leaving him wasn't a loss but a transformation. I whispered to myself, barely audible, this is mine, completely mine. Jason lingered a moment longer, then left quietly, the room's energy shifting completely in my favor. And as I sat in my new position, I felt the subtle, powerful truth I had won not through aggression or malice, but through resilience, focus, and unwavering belief in myself. The office was quiet, almost empty. When I asked Jason to meet me in my new division's conference room, I wanted privacy, control. The balance had shifted. I needed him to see it firsthand. Alex, he said the moment he stepped in, voice tentative. I wasn't expecting this. I wanted a private conversation, I said calmly, motioning to the seat across from mine. Please sit. He hesitated, then lowered himself into the chair. The tension was palpable. You've changed, more than I imagined. I've grown, I replied, keeping my tone measured. For myself, not for anyone else. He laughed nervously, running a hand through his hair. I don't understand. You used to, I don't know, need me. You assumed control over a part of my life that was never yours to hold, I said firmly. I don't need that anymore. Jason's eyes darted around the room, then back to me. But everything we had, don't you miss it? I don't miss the control, the manipulation, the lies, I said, letting each word land carefully. I miss nothing about what you took from me. I've reclaimed it all. He swallowed hard, and for the first time, I saw doubt in his eyes. Desperation flickered beneath his composed facade. Are you angry? He asked quietly, almost afraid of my answer. I'm aware of my anger, yes, I admitted, but I'm more aware of my power. Leaving you wasn't an act of spite, it was an act of self-preservation. And now, I stand fully in control of my life. I didn't expect this, he muttered. I thought I don't know, stumble without me. I didn't stumble, I said. I thrived. I found strength and independence, clarity and focus, and satisfaction in pursuing my own path. That's something you'll never understand until it's too late. He leaned back, voice shaking slightly. I see now. You've changed. You're not the same person. I'm not, I replied, calm and unwavering. And I like who I've become. I'm proud of it. And I'm proud that I no longer rely on you or anyone like you for validation. Jason remained silent, the weight of realization pressing down on him. He had lost the control he once wielded so effortlessly. I wish I could have been better, he admitted. A mixture of regret and frustration. You can wish all you want, I said softly, almost empathetically. But it doesn't change what happened. I chose my life, and I chose it without you. The tension in the room finally began to dissipate. Relief mingled with satisfaction in my chest. I didn't need to gloat. My composure, my calm, my clarity, that was the ultimate assertion of power. I hope you understand, I said, standing. Not to hurt you, but to show you I am whole and independent. That's my victory, not yours to take. He nodded slowly, words failing him. I walked toward the door, shoulders straight, heart steady. As I left the room, I whispered to myself, this is closure. This is strength. This is freedom. I heard through the office grapevine that Jason's latest project had collapsed. A major client pulled out, leaving him scrambling to cover losses. Alex, did you hear about Jason? Jenna asked quietly, sliding into my office. I did, I said calmly, leaning back in my chair. I don't feel glee, just awareness. Awareness? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, I replied. The consequences of actions have a way of catching up. He's realizing it slowly, and it's his responsibility, not mine. Later, I received a call from a mutual acquaintance. Alex, you should know Jason's having trouble with his investors. They're questioning his decisions. I appreciate the update, I said, neutral. I'll handle my work. Let him handle his. The next day, I saw subtle changes in the office environment. His colleagues were cautious around him, their trust eroding. I overheard snippets of conversations in passing. Jason's unpredictable now. Not sure he'll manage the team. I think it's affecting his judgment. Best we proceed carefully. I allowed myself a small, internal nod. Karma wasn't loud, it was quiet, gradual, effective. And it didn't require me to intervene. Later he called. His voice carried the edge of desperation. Alex, can we talk? I'm busy, I replied evenly, not letting my tone betray any excitement. Please, just a moment, he insisted. I need to explain, to make things right. I don't need explanations, I said, keeping my voice steady. I've learned my lesson from listening to excuses before. I never thought it would come to this, he said quietly, a tremor under his words. I mismanaged everything. Jason, I interrupted gently. You're realizing the truth finally. I don't need to witness your downfall to feel vindicated. Your choices are yours, and your consequences are deserved. There was silence on the line, and I imagined the conflict raging inside him. Desperation, regret, disbelief all tangled together. I didn't see it coming, he admitted softly. Now you do, I said, calm and measured. And you can learn from it, if you choose. I've moved past needing revenge. My focus is on growth, not retaliation. Alex, he stopped, realizing that whatever he tried to say couldn't undo the past. I'm done with the past, I said. My life is here, present, and independent. Your chaos doesn't touch me anymore. As I hung up, I allowed a quiet smile. I felt the satisfaction of observing justice unfold naturally. Karma wasn't flashy. It didn't need my gloating. It was inevitable, silent, and profound. Later, Jenna stopped by. You're handling this remarkably well. I have too, I said softly. Holding on to anger doesn't serve me. Watching him face reality? That's enough. I returned to my work, calm, focused, and aware of my own strength. The world has a way of balancing itself, and sometimes the most satisfying victories are the quiet ones earned without haste. without malice, without losing yourself in the process. I sat by the window, the city lights shimmering like distant stars, and let myself breathe. The journey from that night I decided to leave Jason to now had been turbulent, filled with fear, anger, and moments of self-doubt. Alex, you're glowing. Jenna's voice came through my phone. I don't know how you do it. I've learned to focus on myself, I said, smiling softly. It's not about glowing, it's about standing tall, even when everything tried to knock me down. You've changed, she said. Stronger, more confident. I admitted. I still carry some scars, but they remind me of how far I've come. I don't need anyone else to validate my worth anymore. I reflected silently, recalling the nights of uncertainty, packing my life into boxes, stepping into the unknown. The fear was immense, but so was the determination. Every step I took away from him was a step toward myself. I remember feeling trapped. I whispered to the empty room. But now I see that all those moments led me here. To clarity, to independence. I thought about my career, the challenges I faced, and the triumphs I hadn't dared imagine. Each obstacle had taught me patience, strategy, and emotional resilience. You're unstoppable, Jenna said, breaking my reverie. Not unstoppable, I corrected gently. Aware, mindful, strong in a way I never knew I could be. It's not about proving myself to anyone else, it's about honoring my own journey. I let myself smile, thinking of the quiet victories, the subtle moments of karma that unfolded around Jason, the realization that I didn't need revenge to feel empowered. Growth, control, and focus were far more satisfying. Do you ever think about him? Jenna asked softly. Sometimes, I admitted. Not with longing or anger, just recognition. He was a part of my past, but not my present. I've transformed pain into strength, betrayal into insight, and loss into wisdom. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply. I am enough. I am capable. I am free. A text notification popped up, Mark checking in. How's everything? I typed back quickly. Better than ever. Learning to trust myself, to rely on my own instincts. Life feels full. The room felt lighter. The city outside quiet and endless. I realized the power of reflection, understanding not just what I survived, but what I gained. Independence, confidence, and an inner calm that no one could shake. I am proud of who I've become, I whispered again, letting the words settle. And I know the future holds even more. This is just the beginning of living fully, on my terms. I leaned back, watching the lights flicker, and smiled. The journey was mine, the lessons were mine, and the growth immeasurable. No shadows could touch me now. I settled into his old office chair, the leather worn but familiar. The seat that once represented his control now felt like a throne of my own making. I ran my fingers along the armrest, savoring the symbolism quietly. Alex, you can't be serious. Jason's voice came from the doorway, disbelief lacing every word. I am, I said calmly, adjusting my posture. I'm sitting here because this moment is mine, not yours. He stepped closer, urgency in his eyes. I made a mistake, I realize that now. Please, let's talk. Let's fix this. I don't need fixing, I said steadily. I fixed myself. I built a life independent of your lies and manipulation. That's not something you can undo. Jason's hands trembled slightly. I never thought you'd go this far. I went this far for me, I interrupted. Not to prove anything to you. My triumph isn't about humiliation, it's about reclaiming my power. He swallowed hard, the weight of realization heavy in his gaze. I miss what we had. I thought I could control it all, but I was wrong. And I was right to leave, I said softly but firmly. I needed space to breathe, to grow, to be myself. Your absence was my liberation. Jason's voice wavered. I didn't think you'd succeed without me. You were always so fragile in my eyes. Fragile? I repeated, letting the word hang. Maybe I was, when I let you define me, but not anymore. I've learned resilience, patience, and strength I didn't know I had. And now, I thrive without you. He took a hesitant step closer. Alex, I'm begging you, give me another chance. I can change, I swear. I don't need promises, I replied, voice unwavering. I need peace. I need respect. And right now, I have both without you. A bystander passing through the hallway glanced at us, noticing the tension. I ignored them, focusing entirely on Jason's reaction, which was a mixture of shock, regret, and a dawning understanding that he no longer held power over me. You're different, he said finally. Almost a whisper. I am, I said with a quiet smile. And I'm grateful for the lessons, the betrayals, the struggles. They made me who I am today. He looked down, defeated. I didn't realize what I lost until now. You didn't, I said, leaning back in the chair comfortably. But it's not about what you lost. It's about what I gained. Freedom, independence, self-respect, triumph. Jason exhaled, the tension leaving him in reluctant acceptance. I understand. Good, I said softly. Now, I hope you find your own path. But I've claimed mine. I looked out the window, city lights reflecting in the glass, feeling the weight of every choice, every step, every struggle behind me. The chair beneath me was no longer a symbol of his dominance. It was a testament to my journey, my growth, and my ultimate triumph. As I rose, straightened my shoulders, and walked out of the office, I felt complete. The past was behind me. Karma had quietly balanced itself, and I was free, stronger, wiser, and finally at peace.